Well, it's that time again. Another year has passed us by, and with it has gone another year of anime. We got good shows, we got bad shows, but the real question is, what are the moments that are going to be remembered? 2023 was a year dominated by absolute heavyweight shows just completely taking over. Anime seemed inescapable whether you were a fan or not. Successful live-action adaptations, legendary series coming to an end, memes, so many memes. It feels like the influence of a handful of shows have truly seeped into mainstream pop culture and only continues to grow from there. But there were still some other things happening around our little sphere. Anime fans continue to find any opportunity to complain about CG. This time even Demon Slayer was catching strays, with viewers complaining about how these fishes look like an absolute joke. How dare any animation studio consider this acceptable quality, they cried. Meanwhile, in Isekai land... This is what peak CGI looks like. Togashi drew 2 lines and got 44 million views, 400k likes and 100,000 retweets. Meanwhile, I'm out here drawing at least 8 lines and I'm still waiting for Shonen Jump to hit me up with that manga deal. One Piece defied all odds by giving us a live action adaptation that didn't suck, while the Jujutsu Kaisen fanbase came together to collectively say, nah, I'd win. Which is what I think they say when they enter a contest of who can more effectively spoil their fucking series. But they would probably win against this random dude from Mashal.
And Rhodes Emus!
I mean, look at him. He lasted like 2 seconds. Who the hell would play a character like that? Probably some dumbass hack. For real though, it's been 10 years now since I've been doing these yearly anime recaps. I have gone through a bloody decade of anime, and a lot has changed during that time. I can only imagine the wild things that were happening in 2013 back then. Hayao Miyazaki finishes his latest feature film, The Wind Rises, just before announcing his retirement from filmmaking at the ripe young age of about 197 years old. So that was a fucking lie. There are a lot of shows that didn't make my list this year. Not because they weren't good, but because I didn't have much to say about them other than it was good. Hell's Paradise was fun, so was Mashal, so was Undead Unluck. One day I'm sure the West will appreciate Uma Musume as much as Asia does. Today is not that day. Mushoku Tensei continued my favorite isekai story of all time by having its main character go,
I cannot get it up.
People have been trashing Rudy left, right and center, but I think he's proved he's a real gentleman by showing that he never, ever raises his sword at a girl. Alright, let's get to my favorite shows of the year. But before we do, a quick word from my sponsor, Bespoke Post. Bespoke Post is a monthly membership club delivering a box of awesome top shelf good from under the radar brands. Every month they introduce their members to cool new products based on a preference quiz they fill out. They've got awesome clothes, cool stuff for your house, camping and cooking gear. Basically just high quality stuff in every category. 90% of their products come from small brands based right in the US. They now offer a new membership program where you can get really great deals all year round. I'm talking 30% off or more sometimes, and it's totally free to join. You can also preview your membership right before it's sent. You can decide if you want to keep it, swap it out for other products, or skip this month entirely for no charge. You only pay what you want. This month Bespoke sent me their headshot box, and they must have been listening, because not only do I have everything here to make a legitimate taco, I also have a make my own hot sauce kit, and I have been missing spicy food in Japan for so much. It's so hard to find good spicy food here. So you know what? I'll just make it myself. They also sent me their checkmate box with this really cool chess set and scorecard. Exactly what I need to remind myself of my chess victory over Connor. To get a free mystery gift with your first membership purchase, just click that link in the description and enter Gigguk Gift at the checkout, or go to bespokepost.com/GiggukGift. Thanks to Bespoke Post for the sponsor. And now, back to the video. The zombie genre is probably one of the most saturated and overdone genres you can find in any entertainment medium. About 10 years ago, yet somehow in 2023, we still got an entirely fresh and original take on it in Zom 100. Zom 100 tells the sad story of Mappa employees. Overworked and undervalued by the company overlords that run their lives, it takes an entire zombie apocalypse for Akira Tender to start living the life he should have. This show felt like a personal call-out for anyone who's ever worked a dead-end job in their lives and has daydreamed of something, anything happening to take away their responsibility out of their hands, even if that thing is the end of the world. Akira personifies that feeling of pure freedom we all secretly wish we had. That feeling that breaks the shackle of responsibility, of having to go to work, of having to wake up for school the next day. Eren Yeager looks at him and goes, fuck that guy, which is is embodied in one of the most impressive opening episodes all year, where you could feel that every single person working on it channeled their passionate hatred of all the previous employers that had ever wronged them. Unfortunately, it felt like a lot of the hype got taken away, largely due to episode releases being plagued with constant delays because of time slots and supposed production issues. Oh hey, would you look at that? Even though the show lost some steam as it went on and was tonally a bit all over the place at times, it was still a fun little show I think anyone could enjoy, because in this day and age where it feels like people are fighting tooth and nail just to survive, I think a lot of us could use a story about one man reminding us all how to live. The most respected genre in anime, but this year we saw the 100 girlfriends who love you come along and personally made sure that it never will be. This is the story of a man who got rejected so many times, who had such negative riz. God took pity and gave him 100 different girls he had to date or they'd all die. This was like watching someone dying of thirst in the desert, and then God goes, "Alright, I've got a solution." I'm listening. Just fucking drown him. But what God didn't plan for is that he chose someone who could chug the ocean dry and still have room for more. 100 Girlfriends has a concept so dumb, it will need to be as batshit crazy as its own premise to even have a chance at making it work. And that's exactly why it does. It's stupid, it's unhinged, it knows exactly how insane it is, and then runs with it 10 kilometers past where it needed to go. By all means, this show shouldn't have worked if we didn't have the greatest harem protagonist to bring it all together. Yes, we were graced with the apex of boyfriends, the partner she tells you not to worry about. He may look like the most unthreatening guy possible, but watch him be like, "Don't worry, I come in peace. Hi, what's your name?" Peace. It's rare for me to laugh at a comedy anime, and even rarer when it comes to lowbrow harem rom-coms, but 100 Girlfriends was a showcase of how to do a parody correctly, reinforced by Bibury Animation Studio doing a bang-up job selling all of these jokes in the anime adaptation. They went above and beyond, and I can't wait to see how they adapt the manga beyond the whoa, wait, what? Why are you all running away? In the minds of anime fans, 3D animation comes in two tiers. There's the Berserk 2016 tier, a show so disastrous it has scarred the anime community from 3D anime to this day. And then there's this, the aesthetic that looks like one of those games I apparently won't last 5 seconds playing. The real ones know though that Studio Orange has been out here creating their own tier. Every project they seem to continually push themselves, one-up themselves, and Trigun Stampede is their best looking show yet. Not just with some of the jaw-dropping action sequences and camera work, but small micro expressions and camera animation that give their work just a bit more life. They are still continuing to push the boundary of what is possible in a 3D anime in every way possible. When I got the lucky opportunity to talk to a producer at Studio Orange, he called themselves the hentai of the anime industry. And, well, that's pretty accurate because what they've done with Trigun Stampede has got me bricked up. Alright, but how's the show? Trigun is one of the most beloved anime from the old school Adult Swim era, and when you take on the mantle of rebooting a franchise like this, you always have to contend with picky fans comparing each and every little change in detail. Vash's bounty is way smaller, he has a different haircut, different gun, character designs that looked like this, now look like this. Huh, now where have I seen this aesthetic before? Oh. The spaghetti western feel takes a backseat to fully flesh out a hard sci-fi story. It's more dark, more gritty. One of my favorite things from the original being Vash and Wolfwood's epic buddy cop dynamic feels a tad more intense.
I'll skin you alive and play with your bones until you're begging to die. You got that straight? Wolfwood.
Make no mistake, this is an entirely new Trigun, but one thing I can always respect is when a reboot tries to do something different that the original didn't already do, and by the end of the season, it becomes abundantly clear what all these changes were leading up to, and goddamn did it leave me wanting more. In a time where I feel like we're getting starved of good, hard science fiction anime, this has to be one of the most unique and interesting sci-fi worlds we've seen in years. And I honestly think the way things are set up, it has the chance to do even more than the original did if it gets future seasons. When people remember Trigun, they say, "Oh yeah, Trigun. I freaking loved Trigun." But if you ask them before that what they recommended we go back and watch, Cowboy Bebop, Full Metal Alchemist, Trigun has always been on that second or third echelon of recommendations behind the classics. And I fully believe that with what Studio Orange have set up with this season, it has the potential to go up to this tier. There were few anime last year that exploded onto the scene as fast as Oshinoko did. Our hearts were torn to shred in a tragic 90-minute opening episode. A new meta was formed as anime companies saw the feature-length opening premiere and said, wait, you can do that?
It's free real estate.
The opening song became the very first Japanese song to top the global Billboard 100 charts. The people of my anime list came together and went, fuck you, Fullmetal Alchemist, this is the greatest anime ever made. Then, everyone remembered there was an entire rest of the show you needed to watch. Describing the plot of Oshinoko is like, alright, so there's a doctor who's a huge fan of this one idol, and it turns out that idol he likes shows up at the hospital, but then it turns out he gets reborn as that person's baby and comes back and murders their mom as well, and it's maybe the same person, maybe not, but then because his mother's really traumatic. So, it's an idol anime? No. Sometimes Oshinoko is a victim of its own insane premise. Like, I don't even know if I fully understand this main character. A grown-ass, idol-obsessed man who gets reincarnated as the son of the girl he idolized and grows up being obsessed with his now mum and any other girl who even remotely reminds him of her. Like, if I call him a motherfucker, is he more likely to say fuck you or yes please? Here's a feed of Sigmund Freud's grave right now. But behind all that, the show shines as this interesting, no bullshit, Instagram filters off look at the Japanese entertainment industry, showing you what really happens behind those closed doors when the cameras are turned off.
I hate the media!
This was the show that tricked everyone into thinking they were watching another idol anime, when in reality it was almost the complete opposite. And the real ones know the true thing single-handedly elevating the reputation of idol fans in 2023 is the sheer existence of Aoi Todo. With how popular this got, I find it interesting how much I heard this title being thrown around last year when most people saying it probably didn't even know what an Oshinoko is. See, in Japanese, Oshi means a person who I support, and in idol culture is normally used to refer to someone's favorite idol. So the term Oshinoko has a clever double meaning that could be my favorite idol or my idol's children, which both perfectly describe the show. Basically, what I'm trying to say is Oshis are worshipped in idol fandom in the same way that Taylor Swift has become the Jesus for white women.
I am atomic.
Saying you're a fan of isekai feels a bit like saying you're a fan of British food. People think you're consuming the most bland, tasteless piece of garbage the world has ever seen. But sometimes I have a friend come visit and they have a taste of a proper full English breakfast, a perfectly cooked Sunday roast. They try some of our Cornish pasties, our crisps, and it's like, damn, this is pretty good actually. That is my Eminence in Shadow. This takes every single trashy, cliche tropes you scoff at in isekai and wears it like a badge of honor. Edgy main character, an army of girls in his harem, blatant power fantasy, nonsensical plotlines, cheesy dialogue, boobs. You know it shouldn't work, but it wears it all so proudly you start getting convinced that it's actually cool. It's not that it isn't stupid. It is stupid, but it doesn't give a fuck if you care or not. And I thought this would eventually run its course until I kept watching and realized that this has a more interesting plot and better world building than 90% of isekai out there. Which actually says less than you think. For as self-aware as it is, it spares no expense in building up this fully fleshed out world with so many moving parts. Every new arc, you see the dominoes being perfectly laid out. It's all set up for Sid to come in and topple them on the biggest stage possible. And even though you know it's happening, when the moment comes, it delivers. Every single time. This was the most fun I had with any show all year, and just when I think the plot has nowhere else to go, Season 2 ends with a world-shaking development that made me go, fuck! Why aren't more isekai doing this? I guess what I'm trying to say is, I really miss Greg's. One man's freedom is another man's genocide. Eren Yeager, probably. Attack on Titan ended this year, and the internet had opinions. If you only browse Twitter, you might have thought half the people either think this was a masterpiece ending, no flaws, 10 out of 10, we all won, we all lost. Eren is a bird. Or, this ending ruined the series, ruined the characters, made the entire show pointless, spat on the legacy of everything he had done, no one's gonna remember Attack on Titan now. Eren is a bird.
Today, we're going to talk about how to stop smoking crack.
Now, with real people I've actually talked to, the consensus seems to be that this was a satisfying conclusion that did everything it needed to do. I had my slight nitpicks with the execution of this ending, but absolutely none of it took away from my love for this series as a whole. What Attack on Titan has achieved and the impact it's had on the global reach of anime is something that will go down in history as one of the defining shows of this era. This might not be my favorite ending of all time, but it is certainly the ending to one of my favorite anime of all time. So for one last time, thank you, Attack on Titan. Only those around now will know that feeling of after years of waiting through final seasons of final parts of final episodes, 2023 was that time we could definitively say that this was the final bit of Attack on Titan we'll ever get to sell. God damn it. Sometimes you just need a dose of wholesomeness to brighten up your day, but being a dude watching anime can sometimes feel like... So what anime have you been watching? Oh, I'm watching this anime called Skip and Loafer, and it's just one of the most cute and adorable... Yo, you catch the latest episode of Jujutsu Kaisen at all? There was nothing in 2023 that made me come out of every episode feeling as good as Skip and Loafer did. This shit was a weekly injection of sunshine into my veins. I mean, just look at this opening alone. The colors, the vibes, the catchy song, this goddamn dance. It's enough to make any grown-ass man internally scream, "Ah! This is so cute!" Fuck yeah, violence, am I right, lads? Skip and Loafer is about as straightforward as you can get. A country bumpkin moves to the big city and adjusts to her new high school life. It doesn't need any complex plot because it exudes this air of authenticity that makes you feel so goddamn good. It's rare to find an anime as genuine as this one, because when I say high school life, I don't mean your typical cutesy anime high schoolers that are like... These are teenagers, real teenagers, just enjoying their lives to the fullest. No melodrama, no overly anime bullshit. This is youth and adolescence at its most pure without feeling like it's been put through some moe anime filter, and there's just something so endearing about that. But Gigguk, I'm an adult, why would I be interested in teenagers? Look, as a certified man, wait, that line sounded really wrong. Look, as a certified man baby pretending to be a grown-up, let me tell you, adulting sucks. We have jobs, we have responsibilities, we have goddamn taxes. Sometimes you yearn for a time when life was simpler and more straightforward, and maybe that time is romanticized. Maybe you're looking back at that time through rose-tinted glasses. But whether you are or you aren't, you'll never know, because we'll never be able to get that time back again. Ever. And it's those little moments, those simple times you cherish and reminisce about that this show encapsulates perfectly. Like, there's this one scene where our main girl comes home for the first time during her summer break. She stayed up way too late catching up with her friends and slept in, but it's alright. Her mum's taken the day off and she has the whole summer ahead of her. So on this boiling hot day, her mum slices her up a watermelon and the episode slows down to a crawl as we see her just taking a moment to enjoy this watermelon while the sounds of summer ring on in the background, and she just stops and just appreciates. And just like that, her summer was over. When anime wants you to know one of its characters is crazy, it goes... When anime is trying to hint at something important, it's like...
It was me all along!
Subtlety in anime is using a chainsaw to dice an onion, but what happens when a show comes along that treats you like you have the IQ that Rick and Morty fans say they do? You get Heavenly Delusion. Here is a show that doesn't take you by the hand and leads you, but leaves you to discover the story on your own. It drops you into this insane world, gives you a hand-drawn scribble of a map, and says, figure it out yourself. It's episode 1. Boom, we see a duo exploring a ruined Tokyo that gets in some kind of altercation with some bandits. Alright, you get the idea. It's some post-apocalyptic world, people are fighting for survival, and
Would you look at that?
Oh, I am. And I like what I see.
What are you ladies doing?
You're praying this doesn't have the ugly bastard tag on it. The girl brings out a gun that looks like this and immediately gears start turning. Wait, is this some sci-fi world shit or is that a damn Fisher-Price toy, you think? The bandits start attacking anyway and they fight back, so you're like, ah, okay, maybe she was just bluffing, so this is just a normal world after all. Oh, that's a gun. In a single scene, the show has set up its world, got you asking questions, played with your expectations, answered your question, left you needing more answers, all without directly telling you a goddamn thing. This is Heavenly Delusion for all 13 episodes. This had one of the most intriguing worlds of any show this year, but trusted you to piece everything together yourself. There is no wasted scene, no out-of-character moment. Everything is a possible puzzle piece that clues you into the bigger picture. What happened to this world? Why are there nightmarish creatures that are eating people? What kind of sick experimentations is going on behind the scenes? Were you paying attention even now? Because you just saw a random drawing of a fish with legs that looks oddly like this horrific thing, and the real question is, did you see a connection without me saying anything? Only by watching intently do you realize how many crumbs are hidden in plain sight. You get given enough to get a rough idea, but never enough to see the full picture, and it's that unknown that makes this world as intriguing as it is goddamn terrifying. By the end, we've only just seen a slice of the larger whole, but it's so refreshing to see an anime that will have your neurons firing in a way where you don't have to worry about watching with headphones on for once. You know, most of the time. And I don't want to watch these Chinese cartoons, but in 2023, anime went, alright, but what if we had Chinese cartoons? Japan. Apothecary Diaries is an anime that takes place in ancient China, not China, in a palace setting that immediately reminded me of these badly dubbed Chinese soap operas I sometimes walk into my mum watching as a kid. At the beginning, I didn't fully realize what the big hook of this show was. Was it the House MD style medical detective stories? Was it the historical drama surrounding the palace politics? Yes. But on top of that, it has, simply put, the best female character we could find all year. And sometimes, that's all it takes. For far too long, anime seems to think we want only one thing, and it's this. No. How about nothing more than just a well-written, believable, compelling female protagonist? And this. Mao Mao is a character that deserves to be in the running for one of the best protagonists we saw in 2023, and was such a breath of fresh air to see. Her presence was overpowering without conforming to what a lot of shows seem to think a good female character is. It's not that she's not like other girls, or premium waifu bait, or a strong female character trademark. She's just a girl. A well-written, believable one that doesn't forget that she's a person first before being just another girl. She doesn't have to be unfeminine to find the overly flirtatious attitude of some pretty boy unappealing. She cannot be your typical waifu bait and still absolutely slay when she needs to. She's not strong because she can beat up 100 guys, but because she's headstrong in her own values and beliefs. Here is a clever realist who acknowledges her place in the palace hierarchy but isn't afraid to throw hands when shit needs to get done. Damn, my girl just factory reset that bitch. Seeing Mao Mao passionately solve these medical mysteries while asserting her fucking dominance all over the palace politics made this such a compelling watch. And hopefully more shows will be able to take note of great characters like this. Appreciating the statue of David up close, getting to see Lionel Messi dribble past 5 players, watching Jack Nicholson command every scene he's in. It doesn't matter what the subject matter is, it's always enthralling to see an absolute master of their craft at work. And that's the exact feeling I get whenever I get to see anything written by Naoki Urasawa, and Pluto was absolutely no exception.
I once created a robot that was perfect, the greatest robot the world has ever seen.
There are only a few mangaka that can boast such a legendary status as Urasawa himself. When you have a track record of titles like Monster, an absolute masterpiece with arguably the greatest villain anime has seen. 20th Century Boys, not just my favorite manga of all time, but one of my favorite pieces of fiction to exist. Pluto is meant to be one of his weaker works, according to diehard fans. And goddamn, if this is him operating at his lowest potential, this is like sending in your weakest fighter, and that fighter turns out to be Gojo fucking Satoru, and wait. Yeah, that analogy checks out. This has all the calling cards of a classic Urasawa tale. He sets the stage, a sci-fi world where humans and robots coexist, a series of unsolved murders, a detective that is missing part of his memories, a robot that has done the impossible and taken a human life. He hooks you into his world and leaves you with a single question when the first episode ends. Just how deep does this rabbit hole go? The man's ability to construct a mystery and captivate an audience through his mastery of suspense, to me, has the same level of craftsmanship as seeing a master blacksmith make a legendary sword. Every episode is so dense with emotion, a plot that will keep you guessing through all the twists and turns, sitting on top of the sheer thematic depth of the story that every single character carries on their back. And by the end of it all, he'll leave you with these ideas that you'll be thinking about far after the credits roll. This is some of the finest storytelling you can find anywhere. If I had to make a guess why this didn't make as big of an impact as it probably should have, well, this was an adaptation of a sci-fi manga that was written 20 years ago that was originally a reimagining of Astro Boy, a manga that came out 60 years ago. So inevitably, there might be some aspects that feel a bit dated. What's this? A war involving the invasion of some Middle Eastern country predicated on the possible developments of robots of mass destruction? Oh hey, there's a guy called Adolf. He's a bad guy.
I couldn't agree with you more, my dear Adolf.
But along with a slightly lukewarm ending, this doesn't take away from the legacy of one of the greatest mangakas alive right now. So, I have one question left. Are we ready to attempt a 20th Century Boys anime?
Domain expansion.
When you watch an action anime, you normally go through a season where you might see a ton of great action, but you know it all builds up to this one, or at most 2 episodes where the production values skyrocket and you're treated to this insanely animated fight that will drop your jaw to the floor. These are the scenes that everyone remembers and defines the top fights of the year. Jujutsu Kaisen went, how about we do that? For every single episode. I don't think I've ever quite experienced the collective adrenaline-filled ride Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2 has given me. You put on an episode and be watching some of the sickest shit that's ever been put on screen, and you think to yourself, there's no way they could ever top this. And it's at that moment the show will look you dead in the eye and go, I'll fucking do it again. And then it does. Again and again and again and again and again and again. So many amazing moments, so many sick-ass scenes. Midway through the season, the hype got to me, and I excitedly tweeted out, it should be goddamn illegal for an anime to go this hard. That was the same day all this came out. One of the biggest talking points has been Mappa's treatment of their animators during the season, and I think it's a testament to the blood, sweat, and tears poured into this that we got a product this fantastic despite the hellish working conditions they were going through. Demon Slayer, Mob Psycho, this may not have gotten the opportunity to be as polished as shows like that, but it is unmatched when it comes to its raw stylistic flair. Every single fight has a unique identity not constrained to one genre of action. We got gritty hand-to-hand combat, citywide disaster-level brawls, insanely unique powers, idle dance beatdowns, there was a mecha fight, a fucking mecha fight in a shonen anime. The amount of hype, the amount of fucking sheer disrespect. We got fucking rabbits throwing hands. This was one of the greatest showcases I've ever seen of, for lack of a better term, fucking cool shit. This felt like the purest celebration of fight scenes and choreography. We were in the audience. They got to marvel at a symphony of some of the coolest set pieces you can find in the medium. The Shibuya arc may not have been peak storytelling or the peak of all shonen arcs, but right now this is the peak of action spectacle.
The way elves see this world is a mystery.
I thank you, Frieren. It's solely because of you that this retired hero could have one final adventure.
Frieren opens on the story of an elf girl who takes for granted the time she has with the people around her. Decades pass in the blink of an eye, her companions age, and before she has the chance to fully get to know them, they're gone. It's a regretful, poignant tale that shoots straight to your goddamn soul. And then the opening's like... The show took a different approach to fantasy adventure while encapsulating everything that the genre is about. There might not be any demon lord to defeat or world to save, but instead we have a journey about appreciating the smaller things in your life. The beautiful things you might have missed if you forgot to look for them. I showed this to a mate and he was like, Frieren? You mean Side Quest, the anime? And I bloody ate him. Because of how fucking accurate that is. Yet it's through those detours you take along the road to your destination that Frieren absolutely shines. It's the type of show that grips you without ever needing to hit you with any flashy, high-intensity action scenes to keep your attention, and then hits you with these flashy, high-intensity action scenes. This series didn't need to go hard in its animation in any way, shape, or form, but chooses to do so anyway. This is what it's like to watch a fully polished product, but like Frieren's own journey, these are not the moments that stick with you. For the world-saving adventure she went on, the slice of memories we get are those small moments that really defined the time she spent with her party. And as she forms new bonds, you start to see those small pieces she begins to pick up from the people around her that slowly become a part of her. This is what every fantasy tale aspires to be. It's shows like these that somehow make you nostalgic for an experience you've never had, friends you've never made, but at its heart, it's a gentle reminder to cherish the things in your life that really matter, to make the most of the time with the people you truly value.
Einar, I've killed so many people. I will be reborn, and I will atone for all that I've done.
That's all we've ever wanted. Something in this world that can give us a reason to keep going.
When I was a kid, my father would read me bedtime stories that my childish mind would always be absolutely immersed in. Accounts of hungry caterpillars, rainbow fishes, ugly ducklings. These were the greatest stories I'd ever heard, because they were. But it would always end off with a message, a seed that got planted in my head that would hopefully sprout into a lesson that would stick with me. And as you grow older, start learning new lessons by experiencing real life, you forget the effect that stories can have on you. A good story can not only entertain you, it can move you, give you a new perspective, teach you something you never knew you could learn that you can take far beyond the confounds of watching some piece of entertainment. That is the power of a great tale, and that is everything that Vinland Saga Season 2 encapsulates. I cannot begin to describe the sheer effect this show had on me. Season 1 was a compelling adventure filled with tragedy, vengeance, and violence. So to anyone coming into this season blind, you probably would have been taken aback. The violence takes a backseat to a pure, methodical character drama. Vengeance has been replaced by a saga of redemption and acceptance. Honor, glory, sacrifice, all left by the wayside, and all that remains is people just trying their best to find their place in this merciless world. While most series would cower at the thought of shifting gears this drastically, it is that strong juxtaposition that gives Vinland Saga's message the weight it has, exemplified by possibly the greatest character development we've ever seen in this medium. Thorfinn's transformation is something that transcends entertainment. A man who starts off as a shell of a human, broken, empty, unworthy of redemption, but through every person he meets, every relationship he forms, he starts to learn to pick up the broken pieces of his former self that slowly but surely fill his soul up. As you see him encounter conflict, you'll secretly wish for that instant gratification that he'll revert back to his previous savage self. But as you witness this journey of a man fighting so desperately to find peace, who learns that it's okay not just to forgive others, but to forgive himself as well, it becomes an experience that will linger with you and invites you to find your own solace. Watching Vinland Saga feels like I'm getting read the greatest bedtime story ever told by my dad. It'll grip you with the purest of tales packed with nothing but raw human emotion that will leave your heart filled to the brim. And by the end of it all, it gives you something. A message, a lesson it earnestly hopes you can take with you. It reminds you that change isn't just something that exists in the boundaries of a fictional story. It doesn't come easy. It's a long, hard, unforgiving road, but you can get there, even if every day you only take one small step at a time. We will always find a reason to fight each other, no matter what time period we are in, weapons we can use, or tools we have at our disposal. But no matter how broken you think the world is, there is still meaning in trying to build a better tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow I can make a brighter day come. Maybe tomorrow I can be just that little bit kinder. Maybe tomorrow I can become a slightly better version of myself. You are capable of letting go of that hatred, even if that hatred is towards yourself. You have no enemies.